Welcome back to Unscripted, TCU's signature sports talk show where we talk about sports here on campus and around the world. I'm Barrett Pavlik here with Alex Miller and Andrew Guyer. Guys, I would ask what you guys were up to this week, but I think we all were doing the same thing, and that was watching some college football. I mean, am I right to assume that, Alex?
Yes, because I was on the couch 24/7 watching all the big games this weekend. I'm just so glad football's back, man.
Absolutely.
It was an excellent weekend for big games, excellent weekend for the lake, and just spending time with friends.
Absolutely. Nice, man. I mean, talk about big games. Let's talk about the biggest game of the week, the game that everyone's talking about, and that's Texas versus Ohio State. Ohio State wins 14-7, but the big talking point, Arch Manning making his first start as a starter for Texas. And, I mean, it was a little rough, to say the least. I mean, he struggled a lot in this game. Alex, what did you see from Arch in this?
I've talked to a lot of people about, when the Heisman odds came out, I was like, why is Arch Manning the favorite for Heisman? I mean, he's only made 3 starts in his career, and with ULM, Sam Houston, UTSA, and that's it. And they were all at home. This was his first career road start against the defending national champion, The Ohio State University, and that hype train's just got to just stay calm for now. He just struggled in this ball game. I mean, 17 of 30, 170 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Now, later in the game, you can see him make the better throws, but just throughout the game, he just missed some very easy throws, especially on the first play of the game, just missed the ball short, and especially on the very last drive of the game. I mean, 3rd and 5, it was a big moment, a little mesh route across the field, and he throws it behind a wide receiver. And then Texas ends up losing 14-7. I thought this game was going to be like a 17-14 game. I did not think that Texas was going to get shut out for 3 quarters of this game. I thought, they were going to score eventually. But yeah, the Arch Manning hype train has got to stop. Andrew, what did you think about this?
I think we saw a lot of flashes from Arch, but another quarterback, Julian Sayin, I think we saw a calm, composed quarterback who was also making one of his first starts against the number 1 team in the country. I'm surprised more people aren't talking about him. 126 yards, 13 for 20, and a touchdown. That's a solid performance going against a big defense like Texas. Yeah. Texas put up those numbers, and I think this Ohio State team, they're number 1 in the country now. They have some good opponents coming up. Number 11, Illinois. Number 2, Penn State. That's going to be a game to watch. And I think we're just going to see Julian Sayin blossom and come into his shell.
Just confirming, is the Penn State at Ohio State this year? Just confirming?
I believe it's yes. At Ohio State, yes.
Okay. Dang, I wanted that whiteout.
I know.
For that game.
I know. I mean, both these teams didn't look like their best selves in this one. I think we're going to be seeing a lot better performances from both of these teams, and we're definitely going to be calling their names come the playoffs. One name we might not be talking about anymore come playoff time is Alabama. They went to Florida State this week in a game they were favored by double-digit points, and they ended up losing 31-17. I mean, this is one of the worst starts for Alabama in my memory.
I agree.
Is it time to officially push the panic button for Alabama?
I'll say this, the dynasty is over. We're not going to see the dominance from Bama anymore.
Yeah.
But first, before we can talk about Bama, let's talk about Tommy Castellanos. I mean, that dude is an absolute dog. I mean, in this one, despite the stats, passing with, I think he was like 150 yards, but he was the leading rusher in this game. He has not just running back speed, wide receiver speed. Like when he goes out and scrambles, good luck trying to catch up to him. He was incredible. Ty Simpson, he made his first career start with Bama, and that's a story I think many people are not talking about. I think he was the 4th-string quarterback. He was like a 5-star quarterback. I think it was 2021, 2022, either way. But he didn't transfer at all. He could have. And I really appreciate that from Ty Simpson. He had a pretty good game, 243 yards. 243 yards, 2 touchdowns. But I want to talk about this. The trenches that we see from Bama, we did not see at all. 87 rushing yards in this game, and they gave up 230 yards rushing.
Yes.
This was not a good performance. But those 87 yards, 55 of them came in the first drive. Right. That is not good for Bama. I think they had 23 the rest of the way. that's why I'm saying the dynasty's over, because we're not seeing that dominance from Bama, especially in the trenches.
I mean, like, going off that point, Bama was just way less physical in this game. I mean, when you talk about Alabama, especially in those Nick Saban days, you're seeing the players just be really aggressive, really going after the other team. And as you mentioned, they were just losing the battle in the trenches. Like, the team almost looked like lethargic. Like, they looked like they did not look ready to go out and play. And then FSU just hammered on them. I mean, FSU, they jumped to 14 in the rankings after being unranked.
That's insane.
That was a huge game on both sides of for both teams, for both sides.
Yeah, it looked like a walkthrough at the beginning. This Alabama team, like you said, they're not doing what we've seen out of these teams in the past. Now, those were Nick Saban teams, and there's a quote from Castellanos, or he's saying like Castellanos, yeah, Nick Saban isn't there anymore. I just don't see how they can stop me. Quote is saying that. That is ballsy. That is ballsy from a quarterback.
If you lose that game, you are going to look terrible as a player. But he went out, he took care of business, and that was an insane thing to say, and what a performance he put up.
Absolutely. Definitely the biggest upset of the week. I mean, a couple other upsets that happened this week. First off, Thursday night college football, we saw USF take down Boise State in a dominant performance where they just embarrassed the 25-ranked Broncos. I mean, this basically shattering their hopes at the playoffs. And another potential upset that we almost got, Kansas State almost dropping their second game of the season after losing their first one to Iowa State in Dublin.
Yeah.
I mean, are we concerned a little bit about Kansas State, especially with how the rest of the Big 12 is playing?
I will say I am concerned, because this is supposed to be a Big 12 title contender. And when you lose your first game, I mean, it's a conference team, you're going to lose some games. But struggling against your easiest opponent, an FCS team, I feel like we should sound the alarms just a little bit, because, again, it's supposed to be a title contender. The secondary for K-State is just getting burned around. But North Dakota, they played well. I mean, they deserve to win this ball game. But K-State having to go down to the final drive of this game, that really concerns me, especially at home, too. I mean, those fans were definitely freaking out about that.
I grew up in Kansas, and Avery Johnson, the hype train has been rolling since high school. My high school team played him. And I don't think he's panned out like the Kansas State fans thought he would. He's the dual threat type of quarterback, and that offense, they're just not utilizing him. And they're not using those weapons, and something just feels off with that team.
And in a conference like the Big 12, where there's already so many amazing teams playing well, and then you have teams who are emerging higher, like Utah, who had an incredible week. You have to play up to that standard. Same in the SEC, like Alabama and Texas, they were the only two SEC teams to lose this past week. Meanwhile, you have teams like South Carolina, Tennessee, they're all taking that jump. They're taking that next step up. And Auburn, forgot to mention them as well, because they had an incredible week. I mean, you have to keep performing to make sure that you can match up with these better teams down the road. And speaking on the SEC, a big SEC game, SEC-ACC game, took place in South Carolina, LSU versus Clemson. Man, this one came down to the wire. This was a back-and-forth competitive game. I mean, LSU comes away with a big 17-10 win. Andrew, what did you see out of these teams?
Well, Barrett, I think that the score doesn't reflect how these quarterbacks played and how this looked. Compared to that Texas-Ohio State game, this one was just filled with so much more offense. These quarterbacks were just moving the ball downfield, but then they just couldn't complete drives. Clemson had some big missed field goal attempts and just couldn't get the job done in the red zone. And I think coming in as a number 4 in the AP poll, they're going to need to finish those games. They were considered a national champion contender, and I think they need to turn those things around. Dabo Swinney needs to get with his guys, needs to figure out those problems, needs to be able to finish in the red zone, finish those drives if they want to stay in the top of that ACC, in the top of the NCAA.
I mean, this Clemson team just struggled, especially in that second half. they only got 10 minutes of possession the whole second half. They were scoreless, and over the entirety of the game, they only had 261 yards. Like, this Clemson team didn't play up to their standard, especially as you mentioned. Like, this is supposed to be a national championship contending team. Like, are we sure that Clemson is going to be able to compete with these top teams, or are we going to get another season like last year where they just won a bunch of ACC games and then made it in there because of the automatic bid?
I mean, I think they'll be fine as a team. You know, their next 2 games they should win pretty easily. But I will say, LSU, I think they have a defense. They have not had a defense since that national championship in, 2019.
Yeah.
And 2020, bad team. 2021, bad defense, mediocre defense, bad defense. Now they have one. I mean, they shut down the Clemson run game. 31 rushing yards in the entire game. And you mentioned of Clemson not finishing drives. Well, they definitely had to because LSU kept them off the field. 37 minutes possession time compared to Clemson's 22. And again, just rough night overall for Clemson. Klubnik, 31.4 QBR. That is not good. Second lowest for a QB this week. For a ranked Power 5 team, lowest was Kevin Jennings against East Texas A&M. But again, I mean, I feel like if LSU has a defense, especially with that high-powered offense, I feel like they can win a national championship with this team. And I think Garrett Nussmeier can definitely win the Heisman. And yeah, the score doesn't really tell you anything about how this game actually went.
I mean, Nussmeier with a defense is a scary sight, and
Yeah.
I expect LSU to be at the top come the end of this.
I'll say this: it's their first season opening win since the national championship.
And
So is that signs for a national championship?
yeah,
I don't know. Who knows?
I mean, Brian Kelly's still the head coach, and I don't know if I fully trust him as LSU's coach.
We'll see in 2 weeks when they play Florida at home.
Very true.
So that's a very good game to watch.
Yeah.
They play Louisiana Tech next week. They should have no problem in that one.
Yeah, I mean, big win on the road for LSU. And then, I mean, that was Saturday night's game, but our only Sunday night college football game of the year was Notre Dame and Miami, Catholics versus convicts, and Miami took the win, 27-24, and really what felt like Miami's first big win, big win in a while. Like, they haven't, this is their
100%.
first top 10 win in 8 years. They haven't won a top 10 game
Wow.
in 8 years. A Miami team who everyone seems to have really high expectations on, and especially this year coming in ranked number 10. You have Carson Beck now as your quarterback. Like, there was a lot of pressure on Miami. I mean, they were at home for this one, which certainly helped, but Notre Dame is no slouch. How did Miami pull this one off?
Well, Barrett, I thought that both these quarterbacks in this game, you mentioned Carson Beck a little bit, but C.J. Carr filled in Riley Leonard's role on that Notre Dame offense. They went to the national championship last year, and he looked good despite the loss. Carson Beck, though, he is loving football again. He talked about this Miami team has helped him find his love for the sport again after Georgia
That was
put him through the
really
ringer.
weird departure, I think, from Georgia especially.
And yeah, you can tell he's loving this and he's playing well. He's also coming into an offense that had 537 total yards of offense last season and averaged about 43 points a game. So this is no slouch of an offense. This team they had Cam Ward last year, so picking up where they left off.
I mean, very physical play by them, too. I mean, they won the game because on both the offensive and defensive line, they just, stopped Notre Dame. They were so much more physical. I mean, Jeremiah Love, arguably the best running back in college football this year, not existent. He was, you could barely call his name out in that game. Notre Dame just did nothing with him. I mean, what did you see in this one?
You stole my point of Jeremiah Love. I mean, again, non-existent in this game. 10 carries, 33 yards. This was a team that ran the ball 200 yards a game last year, and Miami shut them down. That's a little bit underrated part about this game, because Miami last year, they went 10-2, but their defense in ACC play was 30 points a game. That pretty much cost them a playoff spot last year. They could have gone undefeated, but if they have a defense this year and they continue that same type of momentum from 2024 on the offense, it doesn't have to be as incredible as it was last year, but just really, really good enough that their defense can really, really help. I think this Miami team can make their first playoff appearance in school history. And again, Carson Beck, really efficient game, like you said, Andrew. 20 of 31, 203 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 84.9 QBR. Yeah. Really, really good performance. Again, he got a lot of hate from Georgia last year. Down the stretch, he gets injured, and he really showed out in this game Sunday night in Miami.
I mean, we could easily be seeing this Miami team in the playoffs. I mean, there were highlights all over this weekend, but maybe the highlight of the year has already happened, and it was this Sunday night game as Miami's own C.J. Daniels made an incredible one-handed catch. Check it out.
12 for 19 total. Under pressure, off his back foot, up for grabs, and caught! C.J. Daniels, a tremendous one-handed catch. And they lost their top 6 receivers from last year. Daniels, one of several brought into the program. He's a transfer from LSU. And what a way to introduce yourself to the new team and fan base. They're going to review it. And again, the poise of Carson Beck. I wondered when the ball was in the air, Greg, if it was a good decision. But I guess you could say that was on the money.
I mean, that is an unbelievable catch. Now, he does bobble it a little bit through the ground, but does the ball ever touch the ground is the question. Goes up with one hand, pulls it in, but watch it now. Does he get it into his body? Does it ever touch the ground? From that angle, I don't see any ball meeting the grass.
I mean, that was an unbelievable catch. I am not scared to say that that's going to be the play of the year easily.
I mean, I think so, but also you got to mention the Florida one against Long Island. I mean, that was also a really good catch. But also, C.J. Daniels in the rain, too, in Miami. I mean, that was insane.
I mean, extremely impressive stuff there.
The crowd pop was insane.
Absolutely.
I will say that. It was insane watching that live.
Absolutely. All eyes were on that play, but all eyes Monday night were on the debut of Bill Belichick, where TCU absolutely destroyed the Tar Heels. This was a dominant performance, really from start to finish. I mean, Andrew, what do you got for us? What did you see in this game?
So coming out to start the game, 70 new players on this UNC team, 13 new coaches. That's a whole new culture change. Like Darius said last week, how is a team going to beat a very experienced TCU squad?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yes.
So got to give Darius his flowers. He correctly predicted that game. And coming in, UNC was rolling right out of the gates. It seemed very scripted. Mm-hmm. Lopez knew exactly who to hit. He had a big throw down the field. But slowly, that TCU offense got rolling. Josh Hoover, second possession, hit a big throw to Jordan Dwyer.
Yep.
McAllister, he was hitting him first possession, but he wasn't open as much. But Dwyer, what a game.
I mean, 8 for 136 in his debut as a Horned Frog. Like Eric McAllister, like I'd say, like he's the number one guy, but he was invisible because Jordan Dwyer just kept getting open over and over. And I mean, as you mentioned, that first drive, I think kind of stunned all of us for a second. Like everyone was kind of saying, "Oh, here comes UNC." And I think even Horned Frog fans became a little like questionable, like like is this?
That was literally me.
Is this
I was a little bit overreacting a little bit about that first drive. I was like, oh god, is this team going to be really bad again? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, but then they just settled in. You got over 500 yards of offense, almost doubling UNC's total offense. I mean, TCU just had it all figured out in this game against UNC.
I mean, again, like I said, complete domination from TCU. And TCU, what they lacked last year, what everyone was kind of looking at this year, can the run game improve? This was one of the worst run games last year in 2024. 258 rushing yards in this game. And it was a complete dominant performance from the run game. Hoover was incredible. I think Barstool should know who TCU's quarterback is now from that performance. 287 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a bad interception. But who cares? 48-14 win. Defense was on lockdown. One thing, North Carolina ran the ball pretty good in that first drive. 50 rushing yards allowed in the entire game for that Horned Frog defense. Can I say this and say this might be the best defense in Big 12, or am I overreacting?
Especially off of last year, the biggest problem was not our offense. It was the fact that we couldn't stop anybody on the defense, especially opposing teams' running games. They would just run right through us last year. Last night gave me hope that, okay, we got physical guys who want to get in there and stop the run. I think the secondary looked really solid. I don't think, in respect to both of UNC's quarterbacks last night, they really didn't have many options to throw to, because I think our secondary looked really sharp. Bud Clark played an absolutely incredible game. And, this was huge for the Horned Frogs, who just felt disrespected.
Oh my God.
The entire time leading up to this game. It was all about UNC and Bill Belichick. And then the Horned Frogs go out there with a performance like that to make a statement.
How many people were in the stadium in the fourth quarter? Maybe like 1,000?
Very few.
It was so empty. That was the
clearing
emptiest college stadium I've ever seen in my life, except, when TCU plays like a bad team at home. But for a Power 4 game on the road to do that, that is very impressive. And the disrespect that we got, Sonny Dykes took advantage of that.
Absolutely.
And another thing, because of this game, they got like 50 minutes of coverage on College Football Countdown with Bill Belichick. But many Frog fans were skeptical because of Deion Sanders and, what happened 2 years ago.
Yes.
But Sonny Dykes learned from that. And I feel like we kind of maybe needed that Colorado loss, because then it helped us to say, all right, TCU's identity is we're always slept on. We're always the underdog. And TCU took advantage of that with 48-14 win, just complete dominance, and showed that, TCU is here, and they're here to make noise in the college football world this year.
I love that. And like Sonny Dykes said before the game, it's a players' game. It's not Bill Belichick. It's the players.
He coaches the players.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's it. This was just a team who was filled with confidence going in versus a team who just, you got 70 new guys playing together. You're not just going to mold that against a TCU team who has played together, who is fired up, and who's ready to make a statement. Now, looking forward, I think this is the start that I personally wanted from TCU. I wanted to see a hungry TCU team, a team ready to go out there and prove themselves. I did have them going 9-3 on the season. I think this puts us on a good track to continue doing that. I think we easily could have been a top 25 team this week.
We got robbed.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. What
Bama's 21? Bama's 21? What is that? They
Sure.
got dominated in their game.
What are your expectations for the rest of the season?
Well, I think there's so many winnable games on the schedule. Looking ahead, SMU 17. I think this TCU squad can easily beat this SMU team. I went to the SMU game in Dallas on Saturday. That place was cleared out. The fans don't care. It was a blowout. But like you said earlier, Jennings the team wasn't flowing like this TCU squad did against a top 30 team in UNC, or top ranked 30. And then Arizona State, that's another game on the schedule that I think this TCU team might struggle with, but it's very winnable.
Yeah, we'll see how this team, obviously it's week 1. There's going to be some overreactions, but we'll find out in 3 to 4 weeks if this TCU team is really that good and that legit to contend not only for the Big 12 title, but for the playoff. And I have them going 10-2. I think they lose to Arizona State on the road. I think you're going to be coming off an emotional win against SMU. And then Friday night in Tempe, Arizona, I just don't see it happening. And then another loss I had was either Kansas State or, hear me out, West Virginia. I know your reaction was weird on that one.
It's a little questionable in my opinion.
West Virginia is a tough place to play. TCU has struggled there. I think we've won 3 times there since we've joined the Big 12. It was the 2014, 2022. Oh no, 2012. It was 2012. We beat them in 2012. It's a house of horrors for TCU there. So that's why I'm going 10-2, either losing to Arizona State and then either Kansas State or West Virginia. I don't know which one.
I disagree with that. I think that Iowa State team will be a loss on the TCU schedule. That's going to be a tough game for them. But West Virginia, I don't know about that. Now, you're looking back at the history, and I think that is a good way to look. But I don't know. I don't agree with that.
I mean, we're definitely going to. It's hard to tell right now, really, what kind of TCU team we'll have for the rest of the season. I think in 3 weeks, when we get that game against SMU at home, I think that's going to be really telling. We're off this week. We have Abilene Christian the following. I think that SMU game is the first real test of the season to see how truly competitive this TCU team can be. But, I mean, there's a lot to uncover in this game, and as you mentioned, the running game was a big part of our win. So let's cut to Darius, with our Athlete of the Week, Kavorian Barnes.
Thanks, guys. Entering Monday night's showdown against Bill Belichick and the UNC Tar Heels, Sonny Dykes and the Horned Frogs looked to answer one major question. Could their run game actually bounce back? In 2024, TCU's ground game was among the worst in the Big 12, averaging just around 114 yards per game, ranking them 13th in the conference and 112th in the nation. But Sonny Dykes may have found the missing piece to the puzzle in this week's Athlete of the Week, Kavorian Barnes. In his first game as a Horned Frog, Barnes rushed for 113 yards on only 11 carries, averaging 10.3 yards per attempt. And to top it off, Barnes opened up the second half with a 75-yard touchdown, stretching TCU's lead to 27-7 en route to their dominant 48-14 victory over UNC in Bill Belichick's first game as a collegiate head coach. If Barnes can continue to provide this type of production for an already stacked and loaded offense, TCU can easily solidify themselves as a top 25 team in the nation and possibly qualify for a bid in the college football playoffs. Kavorian Barnes, this week's Athlete of the Week. Let's swing it back to the panel.
I mean, what a great week it was for TCU football, but also TCU sports in general. I mean, cross country with an amazing second place finish, and TCU volleyball taking down the defending national champions. I mean, TCU sports are on a high right now, I will say that. But switching gears to the news that shattered the NFL this past week, Micah Parsons officially traded to the Green Bay Packers. I mean, I was absolutely stunned by this, Alex. I mean, what are your reactions to this?
I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm hurt. I mean, he was a really generational player. This trade was just bonkers. I did not expect this to happen. Kind of. But we did have some people last week who made some interesting takes. Take a look.
And, you know, we're talking a whole lot about the offense, but there is kind of one glaring issue that we're kind of avoiding right now, for our sake at least.
That defense last year.
Micah Parsons still hasn't signed. And as a Cowboys fan, I will say it's very concerning to know that he's just not there yet. You know, we haven't gotten to a deal yet, and that's very concerning. But in my opinion, I don't know if you might agree with me here, I think a deal's going to get done no matter what. Jerry Jones, he's made a lot of mistakes. I can think back to the whole Dak Prescott fiasco with the franchise tags. I can look at DeMarco Murray with him not signing him. You can even go back all the way to the 90s when they actually won something. He didn't want to sign Emmitt Smith. I don't know what he was thinking there, but he's going to get a deal done with Micah Parsons. You look, he's one of the greatest young edge rushers in the league. He is, at the very least, he's top 3 in his position. And also, he's like number 5 in jersey sales. Jerry Jones look at that, and he gets all excited because he's like, man, I can make some money off of this fella.
Money, man.
Yeah.
You think this is all drama for his documentary show or something?
I'm going to be honest with you, man.
He loves that stuff.
That is the biggest victory lap I've ever seen an owner ever do in my entire life. That entire show is basically, woo, look at me, I'm Jerry Jones.
10 out of 10. Sounds just like him.
It's a rough watch, I'm going to be honest with you. But yes, I do think, Jerry Jones has gone on statement and said he likes making the Cowboys popular. He likes saying things to make it recognizable. So I think this might just be a big publicity stunt. But I'm fairly confident he's going to show up against the Philadelphia Eagles on September 4th.
Yeah, Danny, and you guys know me. You know I'm a very relaxed guy, okay? And even with the drama and the soap opera that is the Dallas Cowboys 365 days a year, I'm not concerned at all, and I'm not panicking because, like you said, this is what Jerry Jones does. He relishes in controversy.
I mean, those are some pretty adamant takes that were proven wrong just the next day. I mean, Andrew, this is a baffling trade to me, in my opinion. I mean, what's your stance on this one?
Well, I think it all could have been prevented if Jerry Jones just thought ahead.
Agreed.
So if Jerry Jones extended the following players earlier than he did, he would have saved. For Dak Prescott, $49 million. CeeDee Lamb, $14 million. Micah Parsons, if he signed him last year, $36 million. That adds up to $99 million. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And allegedly, Jerry Jones and the Cowboys offered Parsons $150 million guaranteed. That is a lot more than what the Packers offered.
Yeah.
Or what they eventually gave him, which was $138. This trade seems a little fishy after the Adam Schefter tweet that came out that said Parsons has a L4 5-facet joint sprain in his back. Something's fishy here. What do you think?
It's a lot of words I don't know.
I mean, fair.
What I think about this trade, the Cowboys get Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks. The Packers right now won this trade, 100%. They needed someone like Micah Parsons. You had Rashawn Gary on one side, and they didn't really have anyone else on the other side. But you had Parsons to that one, who was ranked 3rd in pass rush win rate last year. I mean, it's going to be insane to see what Green Bay does. But who knows if Micah Parsons will play, but I'm confident he will play in the Lions game. But for the Cowboys, depth-wise, pass rush, I think they're fine. But obviously, Parsons is a huge loss. You need guys to step up for the Cowboys pass rush. Marshawn Nealon, Sam Williams, Donovan Anezaraku. They have to step up for Dallas in the pass rush. But for Kenny Clark, I think for Kenny Clark and Osa Odighizuwa, it could be a good pairing to try and stop the run. The Cowboys needed someone like Kenny Clark, but it did not have to come to the expense of Micah Parsons.
I think this trade could have been handled a lot better by Jerry Jones, by the Cowboys as a whole. I mean, and like you said, Jerry Jones apparently offered Micah more than the Packers did, but this is just a case of Micah wanted out of there. And I think everyone kind of fell into the idea when he requested the trade, oh, this is just to pressure Jerry Jones. This is to get him to sign the contract earlier. And then he just never did. He kept waiting and waiting. Basically,
he never even called his agent. He never called his agent at all.
He was basically calling Parsons' bluff, and then Parsons made him pay for
According
it.
to Jerry, Michael Parsons, which was really dumb.
I mean, it's like it just could have been handled so much better. And I mean, you said the Cowboys could be fine this year. I highly disagree with that. I don't think they have anybody on the defense that can bring that level of
I didn't say they might be good. I said maybe the pass rush could be fine depth-wise. I mean, who knows if they'll be good or not. I just said maybe they'll be okay, but I didn't say they'll be really, really good.
I mean, fair enough. I just think you can't get your top guy from Parsons to Clark. I mean, you can't. They're not really comparable, especially at this stage in Kenny Clark's career.
30 years old, I think,
yeah,
right?
like he doesn't have that much time left, and I don't think it was worth giving up Micah Parsons for.
Who knows, though? It might pan out like the Herschel Walker trade back in the 1990s, giving up Herschel Walker to the Vikings, getting those players, and then eventually getting those picks that turned into Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, and the Cowboys dynasty.
Yeah, didn't they get like, I don't know, 5 million first-round picks or something? Because that's a big difference from Herschel Walker to Micah Parsons. That's a big-time difference.
But those 2 first-round picks, that's a lot to work with. I know Jerry said maybe we can find the next Micah Parsons. You already had Micah Parsons. It is a little confusing. That's why it just seems odd.
It's a very interesting trade, but I mean, so was Luka getting traded a few months ago, and that one's looking all right for the Dallas Mavericks now. But switching to Green Bay, so Green Bay, I think we can all agree that Green Bay has won this trade, especially this year. Green Bay was a team that everyone kind of thought was already going to be a wild card team. They're going to be double-digit wins. Like, everyone had strong playoff hopes. Now, is it too early to call them a Super Bowl contender?
I'll say maybe a little early, but I get the vision. I mean, I'm on the fence about this. The NFC, it's kind of wide open, kind of. The one threat is the Eagles,
Yep.
which is the biggest threat of them
That's
all.
definitely your top. That's top.
Exactly,
of the mountain.
100%.
Like, they're the team to beat right now.
But also, the NFC North might be the best division in the NFC.
Absolutely.
So I'm on the fence because wherever they finish in that division, that's how I think their playoff outcomes could. If they're first place in that division, they could make the Super Bowl because they'll have home field advantage for a couple of games. But if they finish third like they did last year, I don't know. But I'll talk about the good for the Packers. They're keeping a lot of players.
Yep.
They've developed their young players a lot, and I think they can take that leap of being a great team and potentially a Super Bowl contender. And I really trust Matt Eberflus a lot. Or whoa,
Matt
LaFleur.
Yeah.
But wrong
worries there.
wrong Matt. But yeah, I trust him a lot, especially with Malik Willis.
Yes.
Who he really did well with last year with Jordan Love went down.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a lot of confidence in Green Bay, but it just depends on how they finish in that division.
Right. Like, definitely that division, like, I think we should be talking about them being more a division winner before we talk about Super Bowl champion right now. Just because that division, like, the Lions are still the team to beat. They're the reigning division champions. Had the best record in the NFC last year. And then you got two teams, the Vikings and the Bears, who I think Vikings may stumble a little bit from what they were last year. You got J.J. McCarthy as a rookie now. But I do think the Bears might, I think a lot of people have the Bears jump up this season from what they were last year.
We've said this for 3 straight off seasons now.
That's a very good point. But it's still, I think you're right. It is the top division in the league, and you got to play those other 3 teams 6 times. So I think, I don't know about you, Andrew, but I think we should start working.
Can I mention this real quick?
Yeah, sorry.
The Packers were 1-5 in that division. They have to win division games if they want to win the division.
Absolutely.
Right. You have to win division games.
And I think they need to win those games before we talk about Super Bowl contenders right now.
And I think that all starts in week 1, where we have an NFC matchup, an NFC North matchup, the Vikings and the Bears in Chicago on Monday night. J.J. McCarthy's debut as the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, and the start of his sophomore season. Caleb Williams, will he bounce back with Ben Johnson? That's the question. I'm taking the Vikings here. This is a very experienced squad. Brian Flores.
Very experienced with J.J. McCarthy at quarterback.
Everybody around him.
Okay.
Kevin O'Connell is a QB wizard. We saw what
He
he
is
did
a
with
wizard.
Darnold last year.
Yes.
Very true.
We saw what he did with Darnold.
We've seen it with all the guys. But Brian Flores, he has got this defense down to a T, and they bolstered it. They bolstered this offensive line. And I think the Vikings are just a better prepared team. Now, that being said, the Bears added new weapons like Luther Burden. They have Rome Odunze another year to develop with Caleb Williams and DJ Moore, obviously. So it's going to be an interesting game on Monday night. And we'll see if that river and the wind and the Windy City plays into that. But I have the Vikings 24-21. Write that down.
Nice.
Okay.
That's a pretty high take. Do you got one too, Alex?
Obviously, everyone's going to talk about Cowboys Eagles as the main divisional game on opening weekend.
And first game of the season.
Exactly.
So.
But the next day, Friday, Chargers Chiefs. That's going to be a really good game in Brazil. Now, one thing that does not go the Chargers' favor automatically, the Chiefs have won 7 straight games against the Chargers. 3 wins for the Chargers since 2014 against the Chiefs. And it seems like every single time recently since Herbert's been the quarterback, they've been trending up and up of just trying to beat the Chiefs, but they just haven't gotten over the hump. Herbert, though, is 3-1 as a starter in Week 1. The only loss was in Miami with that crazy offensive game that was insane. But one thing, the Chargers, they want to run the ball. They are a running team, especially now with Amarian Hampton at running back. They were tied for 11th in rushing attempts last year and 28th in passing. Yeah. You also add Najee Harris in the offseason, so yeah, it bolsters that running back core, but I think we'll see a lot more Amarian Hampton because Najee Harris is questionable in this game with an eye injury. Now to the Chiefs side, with Rashee Rice suspended, someone has to step up in that wide receiver 1 role.
Absolutely.
And I feel like there's a lot of good options. Juju Smith-Schuster, Jalen Rose, Tyquan Thornton, but the main guy, Xavier Worthy, I think is going to have to step up in the wide receiver 1. And obviously, Mahomes' favorite target, Kelsey. But I'm talking about mainly the wide receiver position. Worthy has to step up. And the Chiefs pass rush, and this is going to be a very defensive game. It's going to be a little slow to start, I think, in my opinion. It might be like a 10-7 halftime maybe. Yeah. But the Chiefs pass rush, they want to do damage against the Chargers, especially with Rashawn Slater. Just signed an extension got injured for the
Yeah.
rest of it. He's going to be
That's
out for the
absolutely
season.
massive.
That is a huge loss for the Chargers. But on the other side of the pass rush, Khalil Mack, Tuli Tupulotu, hopefully I'm saying that right, and Bud Dupree, those are the guys who are watching the pass rush, and also you got Derwin James leading the defense as well. The Chiefs did not do well last year in pass protection. We saw that in the Super Bowl against the Eagles. They got completely
Absolutely.
dominated in the pass rush. Now, everyone's going to say, Mahomes. He's been average the past 2 seasons. He has not been the Mahomes that we know and love. Sub 95 rating in the past 2 seasons. He's going to have to step up offensively. But again, I think this is going to be a very heavily defensive matchup. And going back to the streak will end. Chargers win this one 19-17.
I mean, that's a big game for many reasons, and really could determine a division winner in a toss-up division right now between Kansas City, LA, and the Denver Broncos as well. That's a game everyone's going to have their eye on. I mean, you mentioned Cowboys, Eagles, Packers, Lions, Vikings, Bears. I mean, there's so many great games this first week. But the game that everyone is going to have their eyes on is a playoff rematch from this past year. It's the Ravens versus the Bills, Sunday Night Football. And this is where we really get to see what Baltimore is all about. I mean, this is a total revenge game for them. They are coming in with a giant chip on their shoulder, as many people were saying that if they went to the Super Bowl, they were going to win it by pure talent alone, by Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. They got the stars that they need on that team. And then they play the Bills in the divisional matchup. They don't even get to the conference championship game because of the Bills. And that was a great game last year. And I think we're going to see another really competitive game in this one as well. I mean, the Bills, obviously, you can't count out Josh Allen.
100%.
In my opinion, he's the best quarterback in the NFL. I think the Bills are really tough to beat at home as well.
Oh, yeah.
So for the Ravens to go to Buffalo for this game, it's going to be really tough on them. Now, with that being said, I think the Ravens are going to put that chip on the shoulder that the Ravens are playing with. It's going to take them to the victory. I have the Ravens winning this one 34-24. I have Josh Allen turning over the ball twice.
You don't think the defense for Buffalo is going to be that good in this game?
I think the offense of Baltimore is going to be better. I have Josh Allen turning over the ball twice. One interception to Kyle Hamilton and a fumble recovered by Kyle Hamilton.
Oh, Kyle Hamilton legacy game, I guess?
This is where Kyle Hamilton proves he's the best safety in the league.
He did sign a 4-year contract for $100 million.
Exactly, and I think this is where the
100%.
Ravens cement their statement of this year we are the team to beat. All right, the Chiefs did not win it last year. All right, their time is done, and I think the Ravens are going to say this year it's our year, and it all starts in this Week 1 game.
Do you know who else is going to have a big chip on their shoulder? Mark Andrews is going to have the biggest chip on his shoulder in this game. He dropped was it 2-point conversion or a touchdown he dropped? I think it was a 2-point conversion. He's going to have a big chip on his shoulder. I have him in fantasy in one of my leagues. So Mark Andrews, please go crazy.
Expect him to go off for at least 100 yards.
He's going to have the biggest chip on his shoulder, 100%.
Yeah. Well, that's all we have for you this week. Make sure to follow us on our socials at TCU360. I'm Barrett Pavlik, joined by Alex Miller and Andrew Goyer. We'll see you right back here next week.